Ecologic Architecture, Retirement Spirit House of Seville. The next essay is inspired in the alarming numbers that World Watch Institute of Washington has been published. World Watch Institute of Washington advised that buildings consume near of 60% of the materials extracted of earth, and its use, joined with the constructive activity, produce around half of CO2 emissions emitted on the atmosphere. Scientists' studies say that residues originated in buildings construction are taking huge proportions. At the beginning of this decade, only in Europe there exists a 1.6 kilograms of residues per habitant by day. Some of these used materials have important quantity of halones and CFC, the direct guiltiest of the destruction of ozone layer. At the beginning of an epoch marked by environment problems, some important architects officially recognized the principle of sustainability in the International Union of Architects UIA of Chicago in 1993, where they pledged to take the ideas of sustainability as a social and environment essential part of their practice and professional responsibilities. Because of that, I would like to study sustainable design throughout a building that has been considered by the Modernist Art Museum of New York, MoMA, as an ecological and minimalist architectural symbol of Seville. This project obtained various kinds of prizes. Among them, we have the first prize for a progressive architecture and the prize of the American Institute for Architects. I'm talking about the Retirement Spirit House that is located in an idyllic natural place near of Seville in Spain, that was designed in 1975 by the Argentine designer Emilio Embas. But before that we talk about this beautiful building, we need to know what sustainable architecture is and how it is related with sustainable development. Sustainable development is the idea to satisfy all present needs, but without creating nature problems and not to endanger future generations. With this in mind is that sustainable architecture reflects on the nature impact of all process implied in the construction of a building, like the manufacture of materials, construction techniques that are supposed to do a minimal damage to nature, the context impact for building location, the recycling of materials when the building is old and needs to be pulled down, among others. Because of those reasons is that sustainable architecture has 5 principles: to be conscious of the ecosystem around of the building location, to foment energy systems that look for economy, to keep in mind the potential damage that the use of some materials in the process of construction could do to nature, to remember the importance of recycling and reusing all buildings' residues, and to study what would be the future impact of buildings designed related to its use. When we analyze those principles, we can realize that an ecologic building not only looks to the economy of energetic consumption, but includes all manufacture process. Now we are going to see how are applied those principles in the building mentioned earlier. First, we can realize that this building, the Retirement Spirit House of Seville, is a new conception of Andalusia architecture, emphasized by the amazing landscape that surrounds it. A valley from where we can see the mountains of Sierra Morena with its oaks, olives, and bell flowers. The architect said that the intention of this building is to be like a ship navigating on a green sea. The structure and location of this house offers to people a good atmosphere for landscapes contemplation and for people's introspection, because we can enjoy the changes of light, temperature, and ambient sound that happen in the 4 stations of the year. The general concept of the construction was to keep intact the leafy forest where building is located, and at the same time to rent its spaces to use them like offices, and by this way to obtain money to the preservation of the nature context. The parts of this surrealist building that we can see from outskirts are 2 big walls in 90 grades of angle, with a long stair in the entrance. These huge walls were designed to catch the sun's heat from the house that is underneath of earth. The reason is that sun is strongest from east and west, so these huge walls are orientated to these directions, and because of that, only indirect light can come into the house. Rooms inside are looking to an interior yard that permits vertical ventilation, and with apertures that seem like fissures on earth, natural light and wind can come into the entire house too. Service zones, like kitchen, are located to west. The reason is that wind came from east to west, and, by this way, smells of kitchen can't be distributed in the entire house. Also, gardens on top are like temperature regulators because they catch strong light and heat and reflect it to atmosphere. At final, we can always do something for nature. In this case, we saw how conditioner air was unnecessary for the good ventilation that windows, apertures, and gardens provide. Also, this retirement house is a tourist point that helps with the maintenance of the nature context.